Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Crop Life Retail Week. I'm Paul Schrimpf. Today, joined by Dave Frabata from our changing magazine title. Was Farm Chemicals International. It's going to become Agribusiness Global. The website's changed, and we're going to change the. It'll be the first issue to be coming out in January. So
That's right.
We're excited about that. And welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
Wanted to say a few things about the Ag Retailers Association conference, and we had a roundtable area discussion with retailers, and I think some of the key things coming out of that. I think retailers were in the roundtable and really across the show were a lot more optimistic than we had thought they might be in terms of looking forward to the future. I think they're geared up for probably a little bit of a tough time this year, possibly even into 2017. But overall, I think they're ready to. They're kind of battening down the hatches, preparing for tougher times, and looking forward to maybe having a culling of some of the lesser players out there in the marketplace, and maybe a little bit more consolidation, and seeing seeing an opportunity to have better competitiveness in their market. So. That was one thing, and the other thing that stuck out was the fertilizer market. I think growers in general are postponing fertilizer decisions because of the pricing and because of the market situation right now. Could cause some logistical issues come spring if growers continue to put off fertilizer decisions. So we're going to be watching that kind of closely, and that's something that retailers across the board are watching. Of course, the big news this week is the DowDuPont merger, a proposed merger. It's not gone through yet. Obviously, it's got a road to go yet in terms of that happening. And Dave, I know you have some perspective both from what will happen internationally and domestically, and maybe in comparison to some other markets. So, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, it's probably going to take about 2 years for regulatory approval to happen. To give a little perspective on M&A activity for 2015, we've hit a record high of $4.4 trillion in value of merged and acquired companies. So there's a lot of activity around this across a lot of sectors. Energy, of course, there's Pfizer Allergen, a big pharmaceutical merger. InBev and Miller merged on the beverage side. And also Royal Dutch Shell and BG Group, so another energy. This ranks as the 5th largest merger this year. So it's still up there, valued at $130 billion. It's a big one. The combined company is going to control 14% of global crop protection value. That ranks just behind now Syngenta's somewhere around 16%, Bayer somewhere around 15%, so they will become the 3rd largest ag chem seed company in the world with that merger. The revenues in 2014 of that combined company is right at $83 billion, and the agriculture sales in 2014 at $18 billion. So about $18 billion in combined ag sales. What a lot of people have been looking at this week is how this company is going to be structured. It's been widely reported they're planning to break into 3 groups. The agriculture group then will be run by Ed Breen, who's president or chairman and CEO of DuPont, and again, that's going to take about 2 years to flesh out. The biggest efficiencies they're going to have from this deal is going to be on the R&D side. Certainly in ag chem, they're spending about combined almost $2 billion, but on the material science business, they're expected to regain a lot of synergies in that R&D field.
In terms of regulatory, I think it's interesting. Looking at the combined companies, it wasn't quite as I thought. Maybe there'd be a little bit more of a draconian, combination in terms of percentages of businesses. But it represents domestically 17% of crop protection, 35% of soybean sales, and 41% of corn sales in the U.S., which isn't that far afield from, say, where Pioneer was in its heyday in terms of having a percentage of corn and so forth. So you would think maybe it wouldn't have as difficult a road from that standpoint on the regulatory side, at least domestically. But I know there's a lot of water that has to go under the bridge before we see it happen.
The antitrust is difficult to determine in each market because market shares are going to vary by each market, and each government is going to have to put their stamp of approval on it. There's been some talk about the possible divestiture of some of Dow's seeds to take to eliminate that antitrust concern and take advantage of the good market share that Pioneer enjoys in many markets.
Sure. I'm sure that will generate a lot of news over the next months and possibly years, so we'll be watching that closely. Thanks for joining us this week, Dave, and thank you for joining us for this edition of Retail Week, and we'll see you next week.